Scene 1, take 6.
Action.
Welcome, this is the behind the scenes of Deeds of Valor. The Deeds of Valor story is based on a true story of James Hill, who saved the life of an enemy soldier. So basically, Timothy, he made a pitch, and he didn't have the whole script written out. He just had like the basic, kind of like skeleton of the story, kind of like a Good Samaritan kind of deal. My job of this project was to write the script. Pretty much the process was, I started, I kind of like had this basic idea in my head from the kind of like bare bones of what Timothy pitched. And I like wrote as much as I could before I came to like a nice like kind of stopping point. And I pitched it to the producer. You didn't say my name. Yeah, okay. I pitched it to Eric and my dad. Fine. I don't know.
Pitched it to my dad.
I pitched it and then I pitched it to my dad and Timothy. And I like kind of like, so how do you feel about this? And they'd give me their like input. It helped get like an outsider's opinion. I was really struggling with the ending of the story because the ending is like probably the most important part. Like you got to end on like a big bang or something. But then my dad discovered that there was a true story, kind of like a Good Samaritan kind of style. And that like really helped nail down the ending. The length of the script was about 12 pages, so that's like a minute for each page. The narration in the film is actually, for the most part, word for word from the letters that Edmund Talbot sent to James Hill.
I do not know if you are still alive, or if you have passed over the trials of this world and gone to try the realities of the unknown. I can only wish you peace, bliss, and happiness.
Listen, head to the chapel!
The true story really added a lot. The fact that it was real and somebody actually did that actually like kind of helps it feel almost more believable and affects you more. And it gave it more of a realistic ending. We really wanted to focus on the message of the Good Samaritan, to love your enemy. And how does that look like in the context of war?
I swear to God, and I put my hand to Christ, I will do everything within my power to help your father.
Alright, don't get your knickers in a knot.
Angus, Jude's character, we just wanted to add Jude. Jude wanted to act. But also his character really helps see the enemy. You know, this is a father and son.
Angus Talbot was a young kid. He's not a soldier. He's a bugle boy, which towards the end of the war they were young. I'd say Angus Talbot is a little moody, especially when it comes to like his father being wounded. So like when he has to leave, he's just like, I ain't going nowhere, Yink.
Yeah. You're gonna need to get some more help.
I ain't going nowhere, Yink.
Well then, he's as good as dead. All those hospice wagons behind the lines over there. They're meant for
He's tough
cases
on
like
the
this.
outside.
You're just gonna have to go alert someone.
They all ran off.
A bit soft on the
Bunch of
inside.
pigeon
And
livers.
when his father was wounded, you know, he had to show that tough side of him. Basically, like, he was a little frustrated, I'd say. And he was a little scared because he didn't really know what to do.
Swear to me, Yank. Swear to me you won't leave him.
My favorite part was probably the part where he points at the gun and says, "Shut your pie hole before I blow a crater in your head." Follow me, Yank.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
I liked that scene. What I did to practice my voice, well, basically, at first I didn't really get the voice. I was scared to use it because, I just thought I would say "Shut your pie hole," So
like a baby.
yeah. So I after I watched what was it, The Magnificent Seven? Yeah. Seeing Chris Pratt with the accent, I was just so I think I could do that. We were trying to talk like a Southerner, but then I figured out if I talk like a cowboy, it would come out right. And
don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Swear to me. I swear it.
I actually got it.
You got the accent.
Yeah, I got the accent. The accent was. It took me a little bit. I was a little scared, but then I got it.
And so, do you like the way it came out?
Yeah, I like the way it came out. I'm good with my performance. Even if I had a bad mood, even when it would come to the acting, and I'd be like, and then I'd be like, she's praying for you, Pa. I can feel it. It would just come out. It would come out I could control it. It would just go. Yeah, it just suddenly appeared.
Okay, look at his face. All right, that'll work.
The worst part about filming was probably the heat when we were filming in the field.
In the shot, right?
No, we technically don't. And I don't think we're getting a low enough. Oh man, it's so freaking hot.
It's so itchy.
So let's do this.
It just it was probably somewhere close to the 90s, and my suit was wool or something, and it just made it really hot, especially because a shirt and then a jacket and also a cowboy hat because it would sweat so much, and I also had a handkerchief, right? So it just was just
Bro, are you gonna seriously do this to me?
With the character of Angus Talbot, who is played by Jude Kirk, he's he's supposed to be he's a little bit more experienced his experience surpasses his age is what we're trying to show in the film. So he's kind of he knows war like the back of his hand, basically, except for there's some moments that you see in his character where you realize, oh, this is still just a kid. What we did for the customization of his costume was we gave him a bugle because he's supposed to be a bugle boy. So that means he wouldn't necessarily be in direct action, but he would still see plenty of it. And then we gave him, again, he has no professional military type of uniform because he is supposed to be a Confederate bugle boy. The color yellow is the color for cavalry in the Civil War. So that's why we gave Angus Talbot the sash, or I think it's a yellow sash that goes around his bugle that holds it close, just to kind of give another detail that he is a bugle that he's a bugleman for whatever cavalry company this is. My name is Timothy Korkulis. I am the costume and prop designer for the film Deeds of Valor, and I also act in the film. I play William Crook, who is kind of a cocky greenhorn who doesn't really know the realities of war yet. So, and coming off the back of the yellow for the cavalry, red was a dead giveaway or a signal or a marking for artillery. And my character, William Crook, he has the red stripes on his pants, and he has the red stripe on his hat with a kin crossed on the top of his hat. And he's kind of supposed to look a little bit more put together than James Hill, just because he's supposed to be kind of he hasn't really seen war yet, so he hasn't actually had time to get roughed up. Yeah. The way I went about firstly deciding the different costumes for the different characters was I had to kind of dig into history a little bit and actually find out what the men of the Civil War, specifically Union soldiers, would wear, digging into history and finding what worked best for the budget we had. James Hill's character is, he's a medic, So that required digging into like different histories located, what were the different medical uniforms back then? Were there any medical uniforms back then? And we were able to get it pretty accurate. I feel we were able to get it pretty accurate. And it's really easy for like a film, I feel like, when you're doing like a film about war, let's say, and you have soldiers, they're all in the same uniform. So it's important to kind of break that barrier a little bit and give him a little bit more personality even in what he wears. I want to add into the character of James Hill, which is played by Daniel Green. We decided on the glasses first of all because I felt like it gave his character a little bit more maturity and kind of made him look smarter because, let's be honest, glasses tend to make people look smarter, especially on film, and especially that type of glasses. It kind of brought him to a level of maturity just by looking at him that is in sharp contrast to my character, which is kind of like the young, hot-headed, arrogant, kind of cocky, warmongering kid who doesn't know anything yet.
Why do you care so much about this grayback anyhow?
But for the wounded Confederate man that we have, Edmund Talbot, he's supposed to be just like a farmer who just came off his land and decided to go to war. So there's a lot more liberty taken with that. But we also didn't want to make it seem like it was just a farmer. We wanted to make it seem like they're meshing the two worlds together. Like there's the farm side and there's the war side. We gave him a butternut colored jacket and we put, I think corporal chevrons on it, on each arm. And he is supposed to be a cavalryman. So, and obviously we didn't have in our budget for a horse, which would be a dead giveaway for a cavalryman. So what we did was we took a cavalry emblem, stuck it on his hat, and we're like, okay, that's kind of small. So what we ended up doing is taking like the classic Civil War cavalry gloves and putting those, they're either on his hands or in his belt. We gave him a sash, and we gave him a sword. So that's like and I think it actually is a Confederate cavalry sword. Another point to the freedoms we took. He has like a pinstripe shirt on, so it's a dead giveaway that he's not any sort of like professional military.
He's a volunteer.
Yeah, he's somebody who decided who volunteered basically.
And action.
My name is Stephen Korkulis, and I am the cameraman and editor for the movie Deeds of Valor. So my job starts with the storyboard, which is kind of like a shot list that tells me like what camera angles and stuff that I need to get to translate it to like the big screen. Some of the interesting and unique angles we got for the film were there was one where me and Eric had to climb up onto like a big ladder, and he would pass the camera up to me. And we had to like keep it as steady as possible because not to like shake it. And then we had to get one that was like we had to stick the tripod into the river and hope to God it didn't float away. So that was nerve-wracking. So you'll notice in the beginning of the film when Daniel's first waking up, and we get there's a shot. The beginning shot is him opening his eye and like kind of waking up from being like knocked out or something like that. You'll notice that we rack focus in and out from blurriness to kind of translate that. For one, he doesn't have his glasses on, and two, he's he's trying to get like a grip onto where he is, and that kind of like blurriness and messy camera work was intentional to translate that he's disoriented and trying to kind of get a grip onto where he is. One of the more interesting shots we got was a scene where Micah has to like hit Daniel in the head with the butt of his gun. So we intentionally filmed Micah with a lower shot to kind of translate that he is bigger and scarier and the bad guy basically. And then we filmed Daniel up above, one to translate that it's Micah's point of view, and another to translate that he is like smaller and weaker. So to prepare for the filming, we we did a bunch of tests that we put into something called a previs, which is kind of like visualizing what we want and the angles and special effects and like the sounds that we wanted. So yeah, that was fun. It was basically just like a test drive for special effects and sounds and stuff like that. So we purchased video muzzle flare assets to kind of superimpose them onto our video, and as long as the actor was making the right motions. So for instance, while we were filming the previs, one of the things I did was I kind of popped up when I was shooting the gun. And what I should have done was like kind of jolt back, and we made sure to like fix that during filming and everything.
I'm gonna cover you.
What?
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 3.
And these were kind of some of the movements and quirks that we worked out like during the filming of the previs and making sure that we had all the movements right.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Another special effect we used was the use of something called set extension, which is essentially just like a digital matte painting. So for instance, we would take like a house or like a picture of an old house, and any use of like a static picture, we would put it into our video. Since the house doesn't move, we didn't really need to worry about it. So, and then we kind of hide it behind the trees or something like that. So that way it made our video look older than it actually was. So we ended up. So there are some things in the script that we just didn't end up using overall. They just didn't add to the story, and in fact, they took away from it. So part of my job as an editor is to decide what adds to the story and what just isn't useful or what takes away from the story. So although I would have liked to have a little cameo in the movie, it wasn't adding to the story, so we just had to throw it in the garbage. If you read the script, you'll see that there are some parts that we just didn't add because they weren't necessary, like some dialogue between James Hill and William Crook.
Well, my father's a lawyer in Hartford. I guess I'll go work for him. What about you?
Yeah, I guess I'll just go back to being a reverend.
You need to start to laugh.
A reverend? Is that right? If you ask me, you'd never stop being one. I did it again.
Suddenly a shot rings from deep in the woods. 2 Confederate soldiers. One, no.
I was in the movie. I did a cameo as one of the Confederates who shoots at William Crook and James Hill.
Get down! Round arms!
You see how many?
My favorite part about the process was adding music. It really like gave the movie emotion, and I like love it so much.
My name is Matthew Kirk, and I was the sound designer for the movie Deeds of Valor. At the start, I was operating a boom mic, recording all the sound on set. All right, let me get my boom mic in place.
Yeah, I'm not ready yet, so you have plenty of time. Cut. Let's do it one more time.
The second part of my job was recording Foley sound, which is basically making and recording your own sound effects, like footsteps, rustling of clothes, and gun clicks. Later, for the sound effects I couldn't get, I chose some from stock sound effects. The biggest problem we had was we couldn't use any of the on-set recordings that I did. Because of things like there was a lot of traffic noise because we were close to the highway. There's a lot of bugs in the field, and the wind was really strong some of the days, so when we would switch scenes you could hear the cut and it wouldn't work.
Yeah, that was perfect. Kneel down. And head out. Oh, that was beautiful. Okay, we got it.
So all of the audio you heard in the film was recorded after, or we got it from stock. The stuff we recorded after was like we dubbed all the lines, so we got all our actors in and they re-recorded their lines and we put those in the movie.
Hey there, fella.
Shut your pie hole before I blow a crater in your head. Follow me, Yank.
Hey there, fella.
Shut your pie hole before I blow a crater in your head. Follow me, Yank.
So during editing, we discovered this program called Soundly, which had over 10,000 sounds to choose from. And it also was like partnered with our editing software, so it made our entire editing 10 times faster. When considering the theme of this film, I knew we had to do some old-timey style music, like marching drums, orchestral style music. But I really wanted to make the horn the main character of the soundtrack because it reflected Jude's character as a bugle boy, and you'll hear that through the whole film.
My favorite part of this whole project has probably been the research and just finding out, like diving into the history behind even this specific event that took place that this film is based off of, and just like letting my inner nerd loose on this project has been pretty fun. And then going out and like literally getting to dress like these characters is really something spectacular.
The Deeds of Valor story is based on a true story of James Hill, who saved the life of an enemy soldier. Edmund Talbot, the enemy soldier who was saved, he sent a letter to the newspaper to try to find who the man was.
Comparatively speaking, this man was my enemy, yet I am partially indebted to him for my present existence. Had it not been for that noble heart that beat within his bosom, I never would have been carried from the battlefield. More than once the bearers of the litter complained of my weight and expressed their desire to carry men who would survive.
And a couple months later, James Hill sent a letter back saying it was me.
I carried him a piece towards the church on the hill, if not all the way. I have often wondered if the poor fellow lived, and if so, I have a strong desire to find him. And having the impression that this is the soldier that it was my great pleasure to help on that sad occasion, I am very anxious to be put in direct communication with him.
And the whole nation saw it. It saw this like beautiful story of these two sides reconciling to each other.
So fun fact, my character, William Crook, actually knew James Hill in real life. And James Hill actually led William Crook to the Christian faith, and actually baptized him after the war, which I thought was really interesting.
Ew.
The other one's full too. So.
James Hill didn't only have an impact on his enemy, but everyone he was around.
For you taught us that the deeds of valor are not rendered by the soldier who merely fights, but by the soldier who bravely loves.